peace, power, and love. This morning, well, after the sun has risen today, because yesterday was a long day. Assalamu alaikum, brother Basil, my comrade in non-criminal activities. Not my brother in crime, but my brother in divine efforts to uplift and work out and develop our communities in a righteous manner, trying to deal with our social issues of the social engineering and social narcotics, and just do the right thing in our lives so we can help perpetrate it in other people's lives. Assalamu alaikum again. Very great brother, entrepreneur, very intelligent, very astute in his practice of the deen of al-Islam. My brother for life. Shorty Brown for life also. That's a little thing that we got, that we developed when we was in college. I might as well just do this again so that it won't do what it just done. Anyway, I want to say this morning I'm up later because I was dealing or bonding with my son yesterday on a beautiful day yesterday. And after he came from Manola school, where he go to school with Cesar Chavez. Anola is a class trip that they take to New Orleans to help build the houses up or reconstruct the houses down there that's still going on in the 9th Ward in New Orleans. He went last year. They've been going for, I don't know, the last maybe 7 or 6 years, or since it happened, some little time after it happened, occurred. Then they developed that program for Cesar Chavez to go down to New Orleans. Matter of fact, they're having a fundraiser coming up sometime soon to try to get funds to make it there again. I'll be talking about that in later broadcasts. As I said, yesterday was a long day dealing with him, bonding with him. He's getting ready to go to college, to go on the pathway of his own life development under the guidance and tutelage of myself. I try to do the best, not try, I've done the best that I can do with instilling in him armor, fortitude, insight, and guidance to go on his path in life, to become responsible, not just a male, but a man. A man is that, not just a male. A man is a responsible male man. He's responsible for himself, his family, and his activity in society. Even though we have all these obstacles against us, but the main obstacle against us is ourselves. If we don't develop an understanding of who we are through the universe to have a profound effect upon the universe. I will reiterate and be redundant in my speaking and my concept of that we have to go black through the ancient future and not be caught up in the timeline of that's 2017 years. Because in that 2017 years, we've been under a lot of attacks from outside source. And right now, we still going through those attacks. They're so susceptible that we can't see it. We be caught up in the entertainment aspect of what society has going on. For instance, we got March Madness. We talking about the basketball games that they have every year going on. But we don't know that while they doing the college students in the game, getting the education, playing basketball, through playing basketball, or by playing basketball, and trying to become pro, those few that can make it. The few slots they got for those people that play good enough and are disciplined enough to get into those ranks. But on the other side of that, Don't you know they say it's a $1.4 billion revenue that's being made off of their activity playing basketball, not legally but illegally. Then also legally, there's like multi millions being made off of them playing basketball or whatever it's supposed to be, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever. But the main two is football and basketball. But all this money being made off their physical activity, and what percentage of do that they get on the legit side? We know they ain't getting nothing on the illegit side, but let's reflect upon that for a moment. They don't want to pay them, and they might not make pro, but they making all this money off of them just by putting the ball in the hoop, and they just sit back and get the financial benefits off our children, off our young men. And it's not only in that arena, it's in all arenas that we deal with in this quagmire maze that we be in, deceptive maze that we be in. Because we be so amazed at the little things that we get, and we become deculturetized and not realize who we are as a people and that we should be unified. I didn't do this. Peace, power, and love. This is something from above, from the divine essence of all, everywhere, in, out, all in between. And I humbly apologize. I just had to get into, because this is a special broadcast, because we are up after the sun. And because of what I said yesterday, and another thing, not only was I with my son Bonnie and with my son, I was with a brother named Bob Harvey. I don't know if many people know this brother, but Bob Harvey makes Steve Harvey look like he's a amateur, in my personal perspective, with his comedy. I mean, it ain't all about the comedy, but sometimes you need a humor in your life. So I was riding with him also, and he come out with some things that, man, will have you holding your side sometimes, and you just got to take a second look at him and say, did he say that? We went to a vegetarian place up on Georgia Avenue. Used to belong to Brother Farouk. Used to be, I think, the House of Nature or something like that, up by Blue Nile. And we had some vegetarian food. Matter of fact, they gave me so much, I still have some today. But issues that's going on and taking place in our community are still going on. And it's a lot of light being, somebody turned on the light switch, right, about what's happening in our community. First, everybody was on the violence going on in our community, you know, wanting to have the slave catchers, or I'll say, that's what they really are, slave catchers, but I'll say the police, to come into our community in large numbers to deal with the social issue of our young brothers committing murder against each other and accidentally hitting other people, bystanders and stuff like that. Well, I say the people that, you know, committing murder unjustly, that they should be justly dealt with. But we got to deal with the other circle of our young adults that's in that circle, that's out there, maybe be on the street corners, you know, selling the drugs or doing whatever they're doing, just out there because they ain't got nothing to do, nowhere to go. They don't have recs no more. They don't have like the boys clubs no more. Or, you know, stuff like that. When people in my young age group was coming up, we had all these boys clubs in each and every community. We had the rec centers at the high schools and junior high schools. We had something to do for alternative lifestyle that wouldn't have us on the street corner. And we got to also develop ourselves, or we got to plant seeds into our young youth, warriors, whatever we want to call them. But we ain't going to call them thugs. We ain't going to call them criminals. We ain't going to call them gangsters. We ain't going to do all that. See, that negative language and that negative energy, we got to rid ourselves of that, because we got to change the language. We change the language, you can change the mentality. A change got to be come about. Because if you don't start no change or make a change, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be on the carousel of life, going in circles, just like being a gerbil going on the treadmill. You can go around this way or you can go around that way. You're just going to still be going in circles, like standing still. And see, I'm a prime example of that. I done been around the sun about what? Going on 61 revolutions right about now. And I'm not a millionaire. I don't have a business. And I wouldn't say I wasted my time, because everything is by divine decree. I developed my mind. There go my cousin, a matriarchy, melanated queen, that very astute, very spiritual. Much love for my cousin, bloodline, family line on my mother's side. But what I'm saying is that we got to, in this paradigm that we find ourselves, we have to develop ourselves. Everything's by divine decree. See, I be before us now. I'm speaking from me to you, but what I'm saying, I listen to too. And the reality is that if I would have did what I should have done in the past, I may have been better economically. But my pathway of our ancestors got me to the now, with all the things that I've been through in life. And I'm still here to be able to talk to you through experience. Not only talk to you, but talk to the youth through experience. Because what they have done or doing, I've been through. I've been in a cesspool of life, in the quicksand of life, where it tried to pull me down by design, to manipulate my mind and guide me down in this quagmire, deceptive maze. But I woke up a long time ago at the age of 12. See, I've been in the rabbit hole a lot of times. See, I journey in the rabbit hole. See, I know the deceptiveness of this demonic mentality that runs this system worldwide, through social narcotics, through imperialism, through colonization, through slavery. See, if you don't know your story, and you don't know your culture, your reality, then you're going to get caught up in their reality. It's so subtle, the manipulation and all that's the trickery, this deception, the social engineering, the weather. They're so demonic in their workings against the people of the planet, because they want to stay in control. We're going through a paradigm now where these people we have 800,000 people, missing people, that's been going on for years, not starting with Relisha Rod that got missing at DC General. It ain't started there, but that got, that cut on a switch. But the switch was just cut on for a moment and cut off. Then what started happening in our communities in DC, a lot of more missing people came up. But it seems like it's on second reign or proportional reign. Not for body parts, I don't know for sure. But they say the media very minutely has started talking about this social ill that's happening in our community. It wasn't getting no news or no media at all, especially a long time ago. We might be talking about a decade or whatever when it came on the radar. About 800,000 missing people. Then, like with all these shootings with Trayvon Martin and all that, they said when they found his body, when his family finally got his body, they found that it was missing body parts. Even Dick Gregory talked about this, about body parts being missing. We can go further back than that. We can go back to Atlanta with the brother named Williams that they said was killing young brothers and all that. And that started a long time ago, like in the 70s, and they said that was about back then. It wasn't mentioned of body parts, but we don't know, because the media, the people that controls the media, don't put nothing in the media like that. And why is that? See, why we are so amazed to be caught up in this maze, this carousel ride that we be on, this treadmill, we gotta really be diligent in our activities, in our mind, in the development of our mind, and be observant, not only through the five senses, but we got to deal with esoteric knowledge, arcane knowledge. We got to deal with our the knowledge that we receive from the institutions of the religions that we practice. We got to be real with it. We got to be come together in a unified effort to deal with our social ills, because their social ills are not going anywhere. They're not going nowhere. They're trying to develop a new world order, and they're going to do it at any price. They're going to do it at any price, and we happen to be the chips on the table that they're gambling with. See, this stuff about chemtrails and the GMOs in the food and all this stuff is real, but people want to talk about conspiracy theory. It's not that. It's a conspiracy reality. These people are they got a demonic mentality, and see, it comes from the affluent, the most affluent, starting with the Vatican. The Vatican's supposed to be the representative of Vanguard, whatever you want to call it, between us and the Creator. But how could they be that way when they sanctioned slavery? Was that 1453 or something like that? They sanctioned slavery against Islam at first, and then when they got that underway, then they sanctioned slavery against us, called the Bull Papists or whatever. You know, you can Google it and it'll come up. And then they went into Akabu land, Africa, and they called us heathens. They went through that for like starting 1492 or whatever with the Portuguese and Christopher Columbus and all those lies, his lies, you know, supposed to be his story, but his story is a bunch of his lies based on deception, corruption, and murder, starting back then. And it hasn't stopped. It's just more sophisticated now. And see, they program us and have our young warriors, young youth, young future leaders under robot control, fighting a silent war against themselves. And that's why these murders are occurring in our communities all over the country, not only here in Washington, D.C. We got some people outside of that circle, but there's a lot of our young adults inside that circle that we got to extend the hand of love, a brotherly love, a family love. We got to go in the cesspool, in the trenches, in that quicksand, and get our young brothers out of there. We have to reach them. It's so natural and simple. All you have to do is talk to them. All you have to do is talk to the brothers about who they are, what they are, and what they're doing. Can I do this for 1 second? So I won't miss you. I will be like this, almost upside down. I didn't put that in. I'm off screen for a second. For 1 second. Excuse me. There you go. Because I ain't going to cut it off, and I humbly apologize for the disruption. But the thing is, all we have to do is reach out and communicate. I'll give you an example. I went to the Islamic Museum the other day, right? My great brother Amir Muhammad, right? He's the manager of the museum, where Sister Clara Muhammad used to be. That place now is the Islamic Museum. Tells you the history of Muslims around the world. But anyway, I was in there talking to him, and a young brother came in. And we was talking, and me and Amir was talking, and Amir saying how peaceful I seem now, whatever situation going on in my life. It's just like this reflection upon me now. But anyway, when I was leaving, I turned around, I got to talking to the brother. I seen that he was tattooed down. But you know, tattoos tell a story, right? You are telling a story about yourself that other people can look upon and read if they see it. Some people just look at the tattoos as tattoo, but they tell a story. He had a tattoo of an X right here, a little one though. I said, "What you doing right there with that X right there?" He said, "Oh, nothing right there." I said, "Oh, you must be Christian." He said, "Nah. He said, "I'm Muslim, I'm Rahim or whatever." I said, "So why you got that cross on where your third eye is supposed to be?" He stood back. It kind of took him back. Then I looked on this side of his face, he got a name or something. And I looked on this side under his eye. I said, oh, you got the teardrop. So how many people you killed? Then he looked. I say, see, what you're doing is telling a story about yourself. Now, people will look at you that know and say, damn, he done killed somebody. But you telling a story about yourself, letting people know what you'd have done. I say, now look at me. You don't see nothing on me, but you don't know who I am, what I am, who. You look at me, how I'm dressed. You might say I'm a doctor, lawyer, teacher, whatever. Because I ain't telling nobody nothing. I ain't giving no identification, Ma. But you got caught up in the syndrome of being under robot control. And you don't even know it. You've been used. You've been, and I went on into how, they use frequencies. He had the earphones on. I told him what you put in your mind, what you digest is going to come out. You can digest it physically, it's going to come out. What you digest mentally and spiritually, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in word, actions, and deeds. And he looked at me, and I kept on talking, and he kept on listening. Then he said, brother, he said, I needed that. This is what came out of his mouth. After I said this, took out that moment of time to talk to him. So he said, I needed that. So I told him, you needed it and I need it too. Because I'm just not talking to you. I'm regurgitating what's in my mind that come out. So I'm hearing it first and I'm giving it to you and I'm sharing it with you. And I said, the seed that I gave you, because you was looking up at me or motivated or whatever, stimulated by me, the person or people who look up at you in your age group or whatever, man, plant that seed in them also. Since you said you needed that, they need it too, because they come from the same place that you come from. So we can touch one, and one can touch one, and one can touch another one. We multiply on the good side of things, like it's algebra. We need a lot more positive endeavor from us through them. See, the problem is not going to go away if they're not the ones that take it away, because they're the ones that's doing. You can bring all the police in there, all the whatever you want to do. That ain't going to help it, because they're going to be playing the game. That's all it is. We program cops and robbers, being programmed. We already programmed. They programmed us a long time ago through that social narcotics. You remember what was on TV all the time? Shows about cop and robbers all the time. Was always on TV. They program us about the cops and robbers, and then they program us about the Native Americans. Then they program us about the motorcycle gang. All that is programmed. The data that you put in is going to come out. It's going to be in your subconscious or your conscious. You regurgitate it right then, or just be laying dormant in you to a later date or whatever. And that's what be going on in this laboratory that we find ourselves in. It used to be inside the building, but it's still there. They be dealing with on the diseases that they create in laboratories in the buildings. But the open air laboratory is where they do stimuli on us, drop chemicals out the sky, chemtrails and all that. And it's like a stimulant. You know how they show you those mouses in the laboratory, and they test something, they get shocked. If they don't touch this, they don't get shocked. So they go over there. But if they come over there, they get shocked. So they don't go over there no more. That's the same thing. And see, we got to realize that all the drugs that's coming in our community, all these weapons that's coming in our community. I mean, the weapons that's in our community now is like somebody is in Afghanistan or been to Vietnam or over there in Iraq. What those type of weapons doing in our community? Using us as robots, our youth. Because a lot of us, we come up out of that. We so far out of it that we don't deal with it no more. We don't even want to reach back because we're in a state of fear. They put us in a state of fear to create a state of fear amongst us, because we're not dealing with love, self-love, or we're not dealing with the love of the Creator or whatever religion that we practice that should be bringing us together in unification. I like to say also that, we got to do what we got to do in our community to make our community better. And the media is not going to do it because it's controlled by our natural enemy. And that's the reality. See, we got to face the reality. See, we can't be so caught up in this system through integration. See, they played that game on us a long time ago. They played the game on us and let us know before that they didn't even believe that we was human beings. They said in their fraudulent law that we was 3/5 of a human being. And then later on in the, the early 50s or something, or what was that? The Dred Scott decision, where it says that the European, we ain't got no right that they got to adhere to. That's their fraudulent law. So you see how they think about us, then they cover it up, and years go on. Then they give us a voting rights in 63 or 64. And every year they got to go back over to see, can we still continue to vote? And the madness is in that, right? People say, man, you got to vote. You got to vote. Your vote counts. We just seen through this apparatus here that the popular vote don't count. It's the electoral vote that counts. So the trickery keeps going on. The hypocrisy keep going on, and it be right in front of our eyes, and we walk around with our eyes wide shut, and we believe in this hypocrisy. We become so enthused with this hypocrisy that we, through integration, we become assimilated so much into it that, we become under robot control. We don't have a human mind, a human bone in our body no more. We be so fearful of losing the job and this and that, but the job you need if you ain't no entrepreneur. So that's why we got to develop our own businesses again in our community. We got to do this immediately. Because their agenda, they're working on it. We have to work on ours ASAP, because we always been behind the 8 ball. We're trying to get in front of the 8 ball. Not trying, we got to do that. And I'm saying this wholeheartedly, holistically, it's an offering from my universe, from my divine energy that the Creator is giving me, my insight, my experience, or whatever, my truth from masterminds of our ancestors and those that are still alive among us. I'm saying our ancestors like George G. James. I'm talking about Ivan Van Sertiman, my sister Soraya Grant Ashe Hotep. Good morning, my sister. Another beautiful sister, and my Oracle Queen, Rosie Hyde, Inky, lifetime friend, always there for me as my Oracle Queen that gives me guidance and give me wisdom from that feminine energy. And all my sisters, I hold y'all in high esteem because y'all are the matriarchy queens that make dreams and manifest thoughts into reality for the kings and for the warriors that you give guidance to. And we must hold y'all in high esteem because all life come through you. You're the first teachers. And we got to come out of this patriotic mentality, this male chauvinist mentality, and become into harmony and peace through Ma'at, through the concepts of African spirituality. And that got to become our reality. Even though we might practice anything that we practice, we still got to practice what we, in our DNA, prescripted by the divine energy, who we are culturally. Indigenous or Aborigine, it is us. We must go black to the ancient future and deal with us as a people because we're under attack. We've been under attack for years. We've been under attack, and everything that they got, they plagiarized it and stole it from us. They got so much material and relics of our information and scrolls, hidden scrolls, ancient scrolls under the Vatican. 50 miles of subterranean retreats under the Vatican where they got our information. They was talking about, I seen the other day that the Vatican was supposed to go down there and get some documentation about who is God and what is God. They got so much stuff from our, see, we so caught up in 2017, we don't go beyond that. We got evidence of who we were. Those statues in ancient Kemet or the pyramids anywhere around the world. Do you see how huge they are? See, they don't show us that. They don't show us that Africa got 53 countries in it. That you can put America, South America, Russia, China, and all. You can put 7 continents in Africa. That's how great we are. See, they keep our story hidden from us. The mystery of who we are, how great we are, it's a mystery to us, not all of us. But it should be to everybody should know who they are. It shouldn't have to be the Scotch Rite, the York Rites, or Prince Hall, these Masonic circles. It ain't nothing secret. This is a natural, simplistic thing that we should live. We should live our life in a divine order, in a righteous way, in harmony and peace. See, but those principles have been taken out of society. They got capitalism, they got socialism, they got communism, they got all these type of systems that's in place now by man-made laws and systems that they want to control. They got, man, it's so demonic in this, man. Boy, they got bombs that can destroy the whole world. And you got one brother in North Korea, he don't care about nothing. Then you got this, I don't know what to say about this businessman, this gambler with real estate and people's lives and all that, and maybe a racist. But I know he got a circle of racists because even his own people, his own peers or constituents in the political realm say that they got white nationalist ideology and come from a white nationalist perspective. Their own colleagues in Congress says this about them. The Nagathol say this about the Nagathol. Or the white person say this about the white person. It ain't us saying it, it's the reality. And but they're in this system, this political system that we abide by, that we live by, that we die by, that we support, become part of it, instead of trying to develop our own system. Not trying, we got to do that by organizing, unifying, and developing an infrastructure. And not to get off track, because our problems is in our community stems from our young adults and maybe older adults that's dealing with criminal activity and selling drugs and killing each other and killing innocent people. We got to stop that, because if we don't, it's going to just be generational effects like it's been going on for years in our community. And every year is a new paradigm or a new group of people saying we got to do this, a new police chief, a new mayor, and all this. And what's happening? The same thing happened every year. I mean, it ain't at the rate or whatever, so something's working. And I say what's working, we as a people, we got to work spiritually in harmonious actions. We got to do this in love, communication of love, activity, going into the cesspool, going into the quicksand, and going into the rabbit hole, coming up with information. We got to know that we got to let our youth know that they're being manipulated. They're being used. You know, you get a little few dollars and all that down on this end of the totem pole or whatever, but it ain't even worth it with all the troubles that it brings. It brings death. It brings disharmony. It brings all these things that we got to overcome as a people. We can only solve our problem. We've been behind this thing for so many years. It's time now to stop it. In this age of Aquarius, we done been through all the other ages. We just come out of Piscean age before that, but we're in the age of Aquarius, age of enlightenment, age of righteousness and the divine decree coming, and we got to get that harmony. No matter what we practice, there's a lot of our people this morning getting up and getting ready to go to church. When you go to church, go into church with a spirit of unification, of bringing you together with your brother that you know a Muslim, or you know a brother that's a Hebrew-like. And that's the same for the Muslim brother and the Israel Hebrew-like. We got to come together, man. We can't use the Bible or the context of the Bible the way we want to use it, because it's so contaminated, revised and all that. But if we go back to African spirituality, go back to the future where they get all of this information from off the walls of ancient Kemet, we got to look up our masterminds and open our mind to their teaching. See, I'm just a student teacher, but I'm teachable. and then I'm going to regurgitate what I've learned. And see, my thing is for our survival as a people, because we're under attack. I know we're under attack. I know it. We under attack academically. They deculturetize us through a social narcotics, what they teach us in their schools. They don't teach us about ourselves, an African-centric disposition. They teach us about what they done, European glorification. They don't teach us about dealing with businesses and how to operate businesses and how to live, really. See, in our circle, we go through initiation processes of development, of human development, teaching our sisters how to be sisters and mothers, teaching our brothers how to be fathers and sons and all that. That's what we do from a naturalistic perspective. And we be protectors of our community. That's why we got to reach our youth. We got to let them know they being used, man. They being used to kill each other. And when they kill one, it's like killing a lot, because that person gone, who going to deal with his family? Who's going to deal with his sons or daughters or his woman? And then if you happen to get caught, you're going to be in jail. Who's going to deal with your family and your little son or daughter or your woman? You got to come into the realization what's going on. See, it's all about depopulation and eugenics and all that. Eugenics is a manipulation tool that the European want to be superior, but they're not. We are the superior people on the planet Earth. We got to realize that, and we got to come into our own self-worth. We got to do it through love, man. We got to do it yesterday, because if we don't, the media ain't nothing. The media is not going to tell us or let us know what's going on in our communities. They just doing something, saying something. Like the brother Timon said the other day, the last report far as the news media was when it was with Relisha Rod. And that was some 3 years ago. But then people just doing the work in the community, like Brother Henderson and a sister that he's working with, and other people that's dealing with this issue now. If it wasn't for the Facebook or the social media, the news ain't going to say nothing about it. They ain't been saying nothing about the 800,000 that's missing. They ain't been saying nothing about the body parts been taken out of the people that the police been killing. And now they don't even say nothing about, there been about 400 some incidents of police killing some brothers and a woman that was in that. Ain't nothing being said. It's a stimuli. See how far they can push you. See, it's an open laboratory. They showed you all the police killing. Pow, pow, pow. They almost had us at a state of readiness or a state of, man, when we going to get them back and all that. That's what they want. From a physical, logistical aspect, to deal with a revolution, it would not be suicide. It would be what it be if we deal with it right. But it got to be organized. But who's willing to die and who's willing to kill? See, they got all the weaponries and all that. They got stuff that we don't even know about. They got weapons that deals with frequencies and heat and all that, or can disarray you, burn you up on the inside, stuff like that. They ain't shooting bullets and all that no more. That's what we do. We on this lower level, but they got stuff that they done created that they ain't even brought in the street yet. We see that FEMA is setting in position to do whatever. Not only that, we know that each drug that come in our community is worse than the previous one. We had the heroin, we had the love boat, we had the angel dust, we had the coke, and now after that we got the flacker and we got the K2, and you know what they're promoting now? Zombies. You know why they promoting that? Because that's what it turned you into, a zombie, like a walking dead, mentally and spiritually. And then also it takes you to a cannibalistic nature. They ain't been showing that. They showed it a couple of times, not in the media, but on the social media. So we as a people got to come together in love, peace, and understanding. Not understanding or overstanding, but understanding. We got to understand our universe and the energy of the Creator that's in us, so that we can have a profound effect upon the universe outside of us. That's what we got to do. We got to understand that knowledge. We got to re-educate, program ourselves to esoteric and arcane knowledge and African spirituality. Excuse me. That's the way that we're going to grow spiritually and as a community. But we got to reach our youth. We got to reach our young brothers. They're being manipulated. They're under robot control. They're getting high. They're drinking. They toxifying their body and their thinking. And the spiritual essence of themselves is being polluted. We got to come together in harmony and peace. We got to come together in sacred love in our relationships. We can't be like animalistic, chasing each other like animals for sexual activities and all that type of stuff. We can't do that. We got to have high self-esteem. We got to teach our children how to have self-esteem and teach our children ain't nothing wrong with being intelligent, because it's a lot of their peers that's not on their level, so they want to pull them back or, have a hindrance. But we got to bring everybody up on an equal level, equal playing field. And it starts from the house. It starts from the home. It starts with the mother and father. See, the examples that we set is the sample that our children's going to walk in. So when they see us drink, smoke, and all that, and arguing, fuss, and this and that, different relationship, this is the information that they're taking in. So we got to be disciplined and have self-control of our soul and our spirit and what we do, because it's a generational effect that's going on. These missing children and what's behind it, it's a generational effect. Everything is generational effect develop, and it develops a generation gap, not between parent and child, but missing group of people. And them people are us. We're not the only one to have this problem, but we got to be concerned about our problem, us as a people, because we're always extending ourselves to other things and programs and demonstrations and all that is good and all that, but what about our program? What about our demonstration? What about our growth and development as a people? I say, not in hope, but in duty. I don't say in faith. I say in knowing. I don't say in perchance, not no chance. I say that we do this skillfully, with all that we have to offer, anything that we have to offer to develop an infrastructure of love, peace, and harmony as a people that comes together in that. See, we got to overcome the mentality of being animalistic and predatorial. We can be strong and we can be strong in living a life, a humble life in humility. But you still a warrior, but you don't deal with it in a animalistic and predatorial way, and it don't be against each other. We have a natural enemy, and we at war with this enemy that that we've been under attack for generations. But the first enemy that you have to deal with is yourself. You have to purify yourself. You have to look in the mirror and reflect. Especially those brothers that's in the field, in those war zones that they create, and think and reflect about the bullets that are being fired at each other. A stray bullet can hit anybody. Reflect and say, how would you feel if that was your daughter, your son, your grandmother, your mother? We got to come out of that indoctrinated program state of mind and deal with the divine essence of who we are, and don't become egotistical or arrogant or self-centered, or that you got all the answers or all that. We got to do this thing together, collectively. We have leaders, but our leaders have to be true leaders. Our leaders can't be like egotistical, self-centered, and all that. We have to be reprogrammed and re-educated to deal with our divine essence and come together. We got to put love in our life for each other. We have to reach the young adults, our young brothers. I say from 14 on up. We got to take them guns out their hand. No, we ain't got to take nothing. They're going to lay the guns down in a state of peace and come together to a table and have a feast of peace with everybody that's supposed to be their adversary. We gotta kill that spirit. I shouldn't use that word kill. We gotta overcome that spirit of killing each other. We gotta overcome it. We gotta do it yesterday. We gotta do it when we go to church today. We pray, but the prayer without action is nothing. If we just go in that church only on Sundays or Wednesdays or whatever, and we just go in that building every day and not deal with our temple that we carry with us every day, and the essence of the Creator is in us every day, every moment. See, we can't deal with it inside the building when everything else is happening in the street, in the trenches. That's where we got to go. Not only in the church building, in the masjids, the synagogue, the Seventh-day Adventists, the who them other people, Jehovah Witnesses. See, we can't deal with being behind the door. We just can't say that we got the magic touch or our doctrine is the one and the only one. If it ain't bringing us together, then you always gonna be alone on the island. It ain't about that. The Creator is universal, and being universal is everything that exists, beginning with the universe. Beginning with the universe, through understanding, we have an effect upon the universe. And those that control these systems or societies that we find ourselves in, they have mastered everything of psychological warfare, how to deal with the energy around us, the frequencies and all that. See, all that information belongs to us, but they flagorize it and stole it and turned it against us, because we're not dealing with our spiritual nature. And we succumb to it. We succumb to this indoctrination of the system because we feel it's the only way. But it's not the only way. We have to go our way. We have to think as a group. We have to get think tanks and deal with our situation. We have to demand payment for our free labor in reparation. I don't care what they do. I mean, if they give each person in this country that ex-slaves, or we all been ex-slaves or family of ex-slaves, and give us just $1 million, and then we on our own. But we can't just spend it on materialistic things. We got to buy businesses, build communities, and come together. If they paid the Jews and they paid the Japanese and they gave the Native Americans, but they left us out of that equation because we are the Native Americans. See, but they manipulated that too through his lies. I want to get back to my point, and I want this point to be made clearly, that we as a people have to go in these trenches. We have to be protectors of our village, of our communities. This is my point. This is the word that I speak. I can only speak it from my words. My words is my bond, because I don't have anything else. I'm just sustaining myself, surviving in this grandeur of this quagmire maze of deception. But see, I don't walk around with my eyes wide shut, because I don't even look with my physical eyes. I look with my third eye, my spiritual eye. I look with my understanding. I don't deal with totally just my five senses, only where I deal with them at. But I be dealing with my eternal, spiritual, divine essence, so I can see a little further. But I'm no better than nobody else, because we all have this divine nature. We just got to tap into it. And I'm saying this because I love my people. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not financially, where I got a lot of money. My wealth is my lineal health. My ancestors is my wealth. My wealth is the knowledge and wisdom and understanding that I have. It's very minute. But see, I'm a student teacher, and I'm learning any and everything that got something to do with us as African people, as African or Americans of African descent in America, that's dealing with my spirituality. That is where I'm at, and what I know is so because it's written. It's written by master minds and master teachers. It's etched in stone. The truth is etched in stone and left there by our ancestors. And so that is my teaching, natural and simplistic. And I want to say to all my brothers, my young adults, from like it's 13 on up, it's the 20s and all that, the ones that's in the midst of this silent war that's going on, that you're being manipulated by the social forces through social engineering. You're being used, man. You're being used to kill your own bloodline. And it's only not here in Ward 8, Washington, D.C. It's all over the country, all over the world. They got us so mixed up and confused that the South Africans are killing Africans because they're Africans in South Africa, but they won't kill them Afrikaners that's from the Dutch European bloodline, and they the ones that took over the control of the diamond and gold mines, but they won't do nothing to them. And this is the same way here in our backyard. We allow people to come in our backyard and snatch our young daughters and sisters. And it happened right before our eyes, and we can't even realize what's going on. Then the media don't say nothing about it. Then it's like people that's doing something about it, not getting news about them doing about it. See, but they don't want nothing to be said about it because they want it to keep happening. We got to stop it. We got to reach our young brothers because they're the real protectors and guardians of our communities. And our elders must overcome the fear of our young brothers and sisters because they are the teachers. These the grandparents. They got to overcome the fear. But nobody wants to die. But we all going to die, not because, but for a cause. So we got to be protectors. We got to have a feeling of love for our elders and our young children. You got young children saying they're scared to come outside to play. It shouldn't be like that. And we got to change that as a people, spiritually, economically, educationally. And we got to do it from an African spirituality perspective. As we go in there and to these churches and to the masjids, we got to realize that they use those for methods of divide and conquer. We can listen to the doctrines sometime, and what do the doctrines be saying? We know that one group say that those are disbelievers, and one group say, well, they ain't going because when the rapture return, if you ain't this. When in reality, we're all the Creator's children, and especially us, because we're the first. We're the first, we'll be the last, and then the last will be first. And I want to apologize for this edition of this broadcast being so late. But like I said, I had a great day yesterday bonding with my son and with my friend Bob Hobby, a comedian that makes Steve Hobby look like he's secondary in the field of comedy. Also, I want to give shout out to all my matriarchic sisters and divine queens. Keep on being the teacher that y'all are. Keep on being there for us and rise us up to be there in Ma'at. And the brothers, those warrior kings, rise up and be the teachers of our young warriors. Leave an example of righteousness and holiness. And we got to go into the darkness to give them the light, to show them the light. We got to go into those trenches and the quicksand and the cesspools in our communities and bring them out. It may be a lot of money into those activities, but is it worth it? Is it worth it? Because when you be selling drugs, you know how many people you're affecting? But you got to overcome that feeling of no concern, no connection to the people that suffers from your activity. See, won't we don't take the drugs, Here go one more point before I go. When we was on heroin and had the heroin addictedness in our communities, right? You remember that? It wasn't nothing being said. It was just a sickness or illness, whatever. Wasn't nothing being said about it. No media, nothing. All that they did was talk about the criminal activity. But up north, right? Up north, when these Europeans, Neanderthals get addicted because of this heroin usage, now it's a medical problem. It's a medical issue and this and that. See, that's white privilege. It's a part of the social narcotics that we deal with in this society. If you don't realize that, then you're definitely walking around with your eyes wide shut. And we got to open our eyes spiritually. We just can't only see with the physical eye. We have to deal with that spiritual eye, that divine nature that we have. Again, we have to unify, organize, and develop an infrastructure in peace, love, and justice. Whatever religion that you practice, we got to come together in a universal concept, first and foremost, through understanding of who we are, developing our culture, and developing love for each other, and build our community based on it. For all those who are active in this development, may the Creator bless us, strengthen us, and bring us together in unity and harmony. Whatever field of activity that we be in, whatever field of creativity that we bring to the table, whatever we bring to the table of harmony and peace to develop our community in peace and love, let's do it. Let's do it yesterday. And remember, the police can't do this job because it's a job to them. And it's a life to us. We live in our life. And let's support those activists and those politicians that are politicians and dealing with how they deal with in the halls of where they're at. And let's get behind those who have the mindset that is about us as a people. And again, I have to mention this young brother's name. I say Trayon White has this movement, a political movement of the people, by the people, and for the people. So let's get behind that. Don't forget, his 100 days hasn't been up yet. So if you compare his days with on the high level days, let's make that comparison and see the chaos and confusion that's on the high level and our local level. With that, I say peace and love. I say peace, I say power, and I say love. Sent from above. And for all my matriarchy queens that manifest dreams, stay there. Stay pushing us, giving us that knowledge and wisdom and that energy of sacred love and all that, because love is sacred. We got to understand that whatever we do is on a sacred level. We got to base it on those facts. And the warrior kings, we have to receive those manifest dreams into reality and be in a balance of yin and yang and bring us together in oneness, in the universality of our reality here in this plane, this realm, this dimension, so we can lift ourselves up out of this cesspool and the quicksand that we find our black men in, that affects the family, that affects everybody. And we are the guardians and the protectors of our community. Even though we have the individuality, we got to do it collectively. I see my brother Swoop, brother Frederick Ballinger, a very, very, very great balladeer that he don't want to be. He deal with poetry. But if you hear this brother sing, he'll be like somebody I know named Starfruit, another great singer, female though, and like Ayana Gregory, great singer, like Two Freedoms, great singers. And we need that singing. We need, like when you go to church and they sing them gospels that touch you. We need that. We need it to open us up spiritually. It's like filtering us, going through our soul, touching our soul, generating some harmony and peace. But most of all, we have to study. We have to study ourselves and look in that mirror each and every morning and ask yourself, What am I going to do today to uplift myself and uplift my people? That's the reality. We need a reality check from generations ago. In love and peace. Love and peace for my people, sincerely. From the pathways of our ancestors. And African spirituality should become our reality as the doors of the essence of the Creator is open for us to come through to get all the blessings to raise us up. Go reach our young warriors in the community and bring them together to the table of peace. Break some bread and so we can stop winding up dead. And protect our young sisters and brothers that are winding up missing. We don't need the media. We don't need the police. We need each other. They got their job to do, but we got a job to do, and it ain't a job, it's our life. And with that, have a great day. A goddess and God blessed day. Amen. Ashe, Hotep, Namaste.